I couldn't understand what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's what is amazing when you have the comprehension. What it is amazing.
So do you know how the name came about?
No.
So my friend was on a safari, and he saw a troop of monkeys sitting underneath a tree, and another troop came in and invaded their territory, and they got into a fight. And some of the monkeys, when they were being attacked, tried to defend themselves, and the way they defended themselves is they picked their hands up and kind of moved their hands like across their head.
No.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
So on the, I've got pictures of it, it's pretty cool.
Wow.
So on the Monday, when my friend came back from the safari, he was like telling the story. We didn't have a name for it then. And he was telling the story, and he said, man, I was on the safari and I saw these crazy monkeys. And everybody standing around said, hey, we should call it that. And I'm like, it's kind of a goofy name, right? Crazy monkeys.
That's
what, but because, you know, we kind of, it was kind of that day where we decided, all right, man, we'll just call it Crazy Monkey Defense, because, you know, even in the wild, and even animals, especially monkeys, will defend themselves if they're under pressure like that. And then, obviously, we developed the entire system, which is not just the defense.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I know you have a very good background in Thai boxing.
Yeah.
You have a good history as a Thai boxer. You have a good history about boxing.
Yeah.
But what made you, where did this come from? Where did this charisma come from? Why you create this style?
I think the thing for me that was the biggest thing was that I found that when, you know, training boxing with a very well-known coach in South Africa, Willie Tawil, a great coach, but going into Muay Thai, I trained with Apidej Sitharoon, who was one of the most famous Muay Thai fighters that ever lived. He passed away. Fantastic guy. But I felt that it was so attribute driven. Like, you had to have exceptionally good attributes and take a lot of punishment in order to be able to do that. And I did. I went through the, you know, the school of hard knocks. And a lot of times, like, they would just throw you in the ring and say spar, but nobody really taught you any strategies and tactics, and, you know, and defense wasn't that important. And I kind of started thinking, well, you know, here's the thing. I don't care how hard somebody can hit. If you can't defend and all you're worrying about is trying to survive, you'll never ever think about hitting. You'll never be able to get into that attack position. So if your defense is really strong, then your confidence goes up. So for me, the defense is like psychological armor, because if I'm not hitting you and you're just riding the storm and you can come back anytime you want to, that is huge for confidence. And confidence is the key in the fight, right?
It's like even in grappling. I remember the beginning of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the phase of Helio Gracie. Helio Gracie philosophy was, he can submit me. My defense is very high and very superior. Give me more opportunities to go after him, submit him.
Yeah.
But the confidence you have to not get submit or in grappling, not get beat up, build you confidence. Now you can beat me up. Now I have the confidence to go after you.
Exactly.
It's amazing philosophy like Helio Gracie. I remember growing up, he didn't care. His defense. I remember one time he said, Rigan Machado top me. And he escaped quick. He was almost 80 years old, 85 years old. For me, defense is very important.
Yeah, so that's kind of was my mindset. Was like, if you get the defense right, and I think a lot of times you think, look at the striking games, the defense is the thing they think the least about.
Yes.
It's like they don't even think about that. It's just, I want to get in there and I want to throw punches and I want to knock this guy out. But if that guy's better and he can hit harder and you're getting punched, you're just going to run away and you end up losing anyway. So defense is key, I think.
Yes. What do you think about the boxing? Like guys like Mayweather or some of these Pacquiao, they sometimes drop the arm, but they move all the time. The Robin Williams is so high level. But it's not the same for beginners and stuff like that. It's going to take like 6 hours of training to get to the level.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that's the biggest problem is that, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, as a coach, sure, I train some fighters and stuff like that, people that can put time in, but I think you're in the same position, is that most clients, most students that come to us, maybe can give us a couple of hours a week. If you've only got a couple of hours a week, you cannot teach that style of boxing. That style of boxing is attribute-based. It takes enormous amount of flight time and training. I remember when I was a boxer and I was a competitive boxer for Willie Tawil, I was in the gym training 3-4 hours a day. If you're training 3-4 hours a day, sure, you get really good at the timing, you can slip, bob, and weave things. I mean, it's amazing. But if you can only train a couple of hours a week, which is most people that come to martial arts, that is not a good way to go. So I think it's detrimental. I think people don't understand it. They look at those boxes and they go, wow, that's amazing, I want to learn that, not realizing that to get that good and do that, you're going to have to spend 10 years, 6 hours a day to pull that off. Most people don't have that time. So I don't think it's the best thing. I think Crazy Monkey, as an example, is a really good thing because it's for the everyday guy and woman. You don't need to be an athlete to come in and train it. And that's pretty cool.
It's very impressive.